Leonard, man, how you feeling? Fight week is now here. Fight week thoughts.
I love this kind of stuff. I'm just so glad that this is not my show. You know what I mean? As a fan, you know, obviously I'm working, but as a fan, I get a chance to sit back, you know, put on a nice fit, and just come and sit back and enjoy a great night of boxing.
Looks like Canelo came over to you after the you know, the arrival and everything. Looks like there's a lot of respect there.
Always had a mutual respect. I mean, I kind of tell people this story. It's like, and actually I was talking to Eddie and a few others, like 10 years ago, obviously was when they fought. And, you know, he was obviously disappointed with the loss, you know, and I always stay, you know, 4 or 5 days upstairs. And he was still sticking around, and I saw him in the VIP elevator, and he got in the elevator and he kind of had his head down, and I walked over to him. I thought that was him. I kind of touched his head, you know, hey, champ, pick your head up. You know, you have nothing to put your head down about. You lost to the best ever. And I said, this right here, you will learn from it, and look where he is today. You know, again, I'm sure at that point in time he was really disappointed. Felt as though he probably let down his country, you know. But hey, he was 23 at that time, and he lost to the best guy, you know, in the sport. And like I said, now he's learned from that, obviously, and he's had a tremendous amount of success. And this kind of stuff, you know, what really impresses me about him, because it's only 1 or 2 people can speak to this. This man has made a couple $100 million, yo. You know what I'm saying? He's made a couple $100 million, and he's still motivated to get up, you know, and come out here and entertain for the fans, but at the highest level. You know what I mean? And it's like, because think about it, Sean. If you had made $300-400 million, what would your mindset be?
I'm playing video games.
You know what I'm saying? Well, at least you're keeping it 100, though. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of stuff, you know, that reminds me of Floyd Mayweather. You know, it's like those guys are self-motivated. You don't have to, like, and in this fight, like, I think that both guys got something to prove. Meaning not they have to do it, but they want to prove something to the fans. And I think in Canelo's case, he's heard the rumblings of, like, you know, he's slipping, and, you know, and he's told you guys that, you know, he's suffered a few injuries, you know, in these fights recently, which, again, I know firsthand when you're an elite fighter, you fight through it, and, you know, Floyd's been injured in several fights, you know, but you fight through it, and you know, it don't always be your best performance, and you don't want to make excuses, and he's not a guy, obviously, to make excuses. In Charlo's case, the same way. You know, he's been off for a minute with the broken hand, but he's the underdog coming in, and he's just like, y'all discount him. Y'all think he's some kind of chump. And Charlo is coming. I'm telling you, he's coming. He's prepared. Derek has got him ready. Both guys in 15-round shape. It's going to be a great fight.
Now, Leonard, there's a lot.
What do you make of people saying that Canelo is sort of on the decline at this stage?
I think they're crazy. I'm just saying, because I know firsthand with being close to the best guy ever to do it. It's like the injuries that people go through at this level, because they put so much into these training camps to prepare, you know, to separate themselves from the competition, and it's a commitment. And sometimes you get injured and you don't want to pull out of a fight, and you know, he says that he's suffered some injuries in some of these recent fights, and he's fought through it, and he went and got surgery. And again, who am I to say that I don't believe him? So, but one thing's for sure, we're going to find out Saturday night. We're going to find out Saturday night.
Whoever wins this fight, the rumors about...
Well, timing is everything. Timing is everything. Fight, you know, Jermell said that he was promised this fight 10 years ago. He said Oscar told him that he was gonna fight him 10 years ago, and obviously for whatever reason the fight never came to fruition. But what better time than now? But he's been open about it privately, about that he's been wanting this fight for quite some time, because you got to remember, at one point both of those guys were at 54. Both of those guys were at 54. Canelo's grown into what he is now, and Jermell's still been at 54. But I think people are making more out of it with this moving up in weight classes. I think, this is my personal opinion, and I have the expertise in this part, is that watching a guy like Floyd Mayweather come up, especially when he started fighting at 47, to be able to walk around comfortably at the weight that you got to fight around, that's everything. I'm telling you, because Floyd Mayweather is one of the strongest dudes I've ever tussled with. You know what I mean? And he's rock solid. So I think people think that's a disadvantage for Jermell, but I think it's actually an advantage for him. Now, the flip side to it is that he's in there with a straight cold killer and Canelo. So again, it's that both guys know that they got their hands full. That's what's going to make for a great fight.
Leonard, what was this fight? Is that the new #1 pound-for-pound fight in the world?
That was, Bud did his thing, man. I'm not going to take anything away. Let's just enjoy this.
Okay.
Before we get to moving ahead and saying that this guy's #1, because we don't know what's going to happen Saturday night.
Okay.
Because both guys are hungry, and they both are prepared, and I think they're going to give the fans a great fight.
And Leonard, any thoughts on
you and Floyd have been part of three of the biggest fighters in boxing history. Floyd himself, Tank Davis today's time, and you had a hand in Canelo Alvarez. What is the process?
No, I didn't have no hand in Canelo Alvarez. I can't take credit for that, but Tank Davis and Floyd Mayweather, 1,000%. 1,000%.
What goes into that process to making these guys? They're not superstars. They are exceeding the sport of boxing now. They're crossing over into a different atmosphere. What goes into that process?
Man, and that's why I commend Eddie. He's done, and I'm open about it. I'm always gonna get credit where credit's due. That man has done a phenomenal job with navigating his career. Think about this, man. Like I said, this dude done made a couple $100 million. He made a couple $100 million, and I'm sure that he's been speaking English for quite some time, but he's fluent with it now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So, and it's like now, it's like even people from our culture, they got a lot of respect for him. They got because he talked that talk when he needs to, and then there's just like, oh, we like for him to talk more. So he's figured it out, and he's mastered it, and that's why he's been able to work with different entities, and he's been able to extract the most money that he possibly can, and that's why you can't say enough of giving Eddie the credit. Like, that's a masterful job that he's done, because again, it's like he's 33 years old and he's made a couple $100 million, and boxing, he still loves boxing, I'm sure, but it's his job. It's his job, and he has so many other interests outside of boxing that he's been successful in. He's a great golfer, but it's lots of respect. But I still think there are a couple things that Canelo wants to accomplish in his career, and this is probably going to surprise you guys. It's like, so I was kind of doing some homework, and it was like, so Floyd has defeated 23 world champions, current or former. Canelo's at 18. So I think in the back of his mind, he might not have said this, that might be something, short term, when I say I don't know how he could, but he's got his hands full Saturday night. But I mean, that's something that it's not impossible that he can attain.
Leonard,
you know what I mean? So imagine that if he sets his goal, if he's successful Saturday night, and that's if he's successful, he will be at 19. You know what I mean? And so just imagine that's and obviously, those two fought and they did what they did. It's no secret that Floyd's the best. But again, I think that milestone is something that, that a feather in his cap, that's something that he would want to go down in history as defeated more world champions than anybody in the history of boxing.